Okay, now you're all a bit of an expert on dry brushing because you've watched my previous video and have had a bit of practice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the dry brushing techniques to this Wagon. This is a Dapol box fan, and as you can see, it's lovely and clean, just as it would have been pretty much as it came out of the Wagon works. Now I've got a very limited selection of colours I'm going to be using for this basic weathering, and what we'll do is we'll run them across the bottom of the screen for you to give you an idea while I'm talking. Now the key with this sort of thing is I've got a perfectly good Wagon here, and I just want to highlight some of the detail and put a little bit of dirt into the Wagon itself and on the body. I'm not going to go mad. This is not going to be a really extensive weathering. All I'm doing is just giving it a little bit of dirt, make it look like it's had a bit of a life, and hopefully I can do that nice and quickly. So what I'll do is I'll bring in my bit of kitchen towel, which I'll be needing to wipe the brushes off, and I'll start up with number 67. These are all Humbrol enamels. You can probably use acrylic paints and that'll be absolutely fine. I find they dry a bit quicker, so not quite so ideal for dry brushing, because what I'm going to do is work reasonably quickly and let the colours blend. So I'm not going to let one colour dry and then work on with the next one. I'm going to go straight in with some colour and let the colours blend. So starting off with number 67, which is tank grey, just dusting this over all the highlighted bits, especially on the black chassis. Now the chassis to me is a little bit too black, but you can already see hopefully that as I dust the colours over that, it's just highlighted the detail. The detail's just a little bit lighter and it shows up slightly better on the model. While I'm at it, I'm just going to go over all the bodywork quickly. Just gives, again, a little bit of highlighting to the wood and stuff, and brings a bit of life into the model. It's a very nice model. It's lovely moulding, but as ever with these things, it can just be a little bit flat. Now I think that's showing quite nicely, hopefully, and I hope the camera can pick it up there. Okay, that's enough grey. What I will do is I will do the rest of the Wagon later. I will put the top back on my paint, because otherwise I'll spill it all over the worktop, and that's a bad thing. Okay. Having had a go at that, I'm now on to matte 70, nice rusty brown colour. Again, you can see I'm not bothering to clean the brush between colours, because I want them to blend. In real life, dirt blends. Why shouldn't it on the model? Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just attacking the ironwork, so I'm trying to get some colour into the stuff there, and also there's quite a bit of ironwork on the body, so trying to get a little bit of colour into that. And look, really just flicking over the model here, and just getting the corners as well. And already there we go, you can see a little bit of more colour now, because I'm working fairly quickly. The grey and the brown are blending a bit, so that I get a sort of dark mucky grey browns colour. 187, a sort of earthy colour. Now, a certain amount of your choice of colours is going to depend on the industries and where the Wagons are working. I'm assuming I like a little bit of earthy colour on my Wagons, because it just looks like some muck's been thrown up from the track. And I'm not going to go over the whole Wagon. I get a little bit much on there, so I'll just wipe it off with the finger. Yep, quite tactile this work here, just a little bit of muck there. Wipe it off again. What I'm assuming is there's been some muck and dirt thrown up from the track. Now, this is because I'm assuming this is a fairly normal Wagon. If I was modelling, say, a China clay area where there's an awful lot of white China clay floating around, I'd be using something like 147, which is a slightly off-white for the job. But here, there we are, just some lightish brown on there. Again, not a huge amount on that. I don't want to go too mad, because as I say, I want this to be a fairly subtle job. And there we are. We're now on to the last of the colours, which is 173, classic Humbrol track colour. Now, my feeling is that pretty much everything on the railways if left long enough, will go track colour, which essentially is a mucky brown. Plenty track colour. Get that on the brush. Again, keep wiping the brush on the kitchen towel, just to make sure there's plenty in the bristles. I'm using a fairly big, this is a fairly big Humbrol Coloro brush. It's not the best brush in my collection by a long way, but that is why it's perfect for this sort of job, because the paint is going to be dragged off the bristles by the dry brushing process. And now what I am going to do, plenty of vertical stripes, plenty of vertical work up and down the whole body, because the thing about everything going a sort of dark brown is you need plenty of that. That's going to pretty much be the predominant colour on the wagon. Now you can see that things like the rather nicely moulded hinges and the locking detail and everything here just coming up and being really visible now. So there we are. Now I'm probably just going to put a bit more into the chassis, because the chassis obviously gets pretty filthy. Try and get a bit on the edge of the wheels as well. Spin them round. Just dab away. I'll clean the treads up later. And there we have it. Fairly simple job. You can certainly see, I hope that it looks a bit different. If you compare it to the other side, which looks quite flat, you've now got a really, not a filthy wagon, but definitely a wagon that's seeing some work and earning its living. All that in a few minutes there. Very, very simple job. As I say, dry brushing is a great way to go. And look, there we have it. You can bring your wagons to life quite happily. Do try this on an old wagon first. Obviously, try and pick up some second-hand things, or if you've got any tatty wagons kicking around in your drawer full of bits and pieces, then it's a great opportunity to test it on those. But there we have it. Job done.